let's get the conversation started. I hope you're ready for this one. Well, as you can imagine, accountability is quite important, right? What is not measured cannot be accounted for. And of course, that is why there are certain people in society everywhere you go, but especially here in Nigeria, where they serve as the morality keepers, or at least the conscience of our spirituality as a society. And that is why religious leaders have become spiritual guides who have a significant influence over what society thinks, or how society thinks, or how society views some of these developments. But the big question is, how well are they performing in terms of holding our political leadership accountable for good governance in a country where religion plays a pivotal role in shaping public opinion? It is time we examine the kind of impact, action or inaction of our religious leaders in terms of promoting accountability in governance. So we're asking you the question: what do you make of the contributions of religious leaders in holding people in power accountable, in making sure that Nigerians are truly fairly represented in terms of the criticisms or opinions of some of these religious leaders who are always in touch with their congregations, who form the vast majority of the population in the country? Whether Christians or Muslims, religious leaders all have a role to play in one way or the other, especially those who have some sort of national appeal in terms of their messaging. So what do you make of it so far? Are they doing a good job keeping our leaders accountable, speaking truth to power? Let's have this conversation. The number is showing on your TV screen, and you can do well to call in and have your say on this one. Do not forget the rules of engagement, right? Turn down the volume of your TV set. Keep your articulated thoughts concise. And yeah, let's just go straight to the point. Do not forget to state your name and also tell us where you're calling from. You can also join the conversation via WhatsApp in case you like to just articulate your thoughts through text message. Feel free to do so. Send us your thoughts on this one to the numbers showing on your TV screen. Of course, religious leaders have come under some form of criticism, especially during the campaigns or during elections, because they politicized some of their messages sometimes. But is that also one of the reasons why we are maybe seeing this sort of relationship falter in terms of quality, in terms of really speaking to the hardship as well as the experience of millions of Nigerians who expect their religious leaders to speak up and speak out against what is not working for the majority of the population, whether it's on policy, whether it's in government initiatives, whether it's on social issues. Religious leaders have become a part of the bigger conversation around what Nigeria needs and where Nigeria is heading to as a nation. So, have they been doing a good job so far? What do you make of their contribution in terms of accountability in governance, or at least speaking truth to power and holding our political leaders accountable to everything that is happening, from security to healthcare to a variety of issues, right? The economy, unemployment, and all the other issues that have continued to reverberate. Let's speak to our first caller then. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Abdullahi.
Good morning, Shatima.
Thank you.
It's always good to hear from you as always. How was your weekend?
Alhamdulillah, we thank God.
Good to hear that. Go ahead, please.
Accountability in governance, whether our religious leaders are playing their role. Honestly speaking, our religious leaders, they are doing their best. You know, they don't have full control in their hands. The only what they will do is to tell you the truth, to tell you what they see in the holy book. And if you wish, you follow. If you don't wish, then you do what your mind have told you. Then at the end of the day, you face the consequences. That's the role that they play. But to me, some of them they have done their best by saying the facts and the truth about what will happen to you at the here and the hereafter. And they will tell you the truth And they have already told you that even not in governance, even for your own self and your own family, every hour you need to be accountability to cast your mind back, to see what you do good and where you have been wrong to correct it. That's the role of life. When you are alive, you cast your mind back, and you know history is a best teacher. You look at your back, what you do wrong, then you try to correct it. But our leaders nowadays, they did not listen, Mr. Abdullahi. They do not listen, and they know the right thing, but they just look turn back on it. And if you insist in correcting them, they will think that you have been doing or you have been encroaching into their own personal affairs, and they will use the power in their hand, to molest you. That's some of the reason why our religious leaders, if they tell you the truth, they will just allow you. If you wish, you follow. If you don't wish, you just, instead of somebody to just embrace you, because he has the power in his hand. He can do and do. What are you going to do? Rather, if you tell him the truth, you just allow him. If you wish, let him follow. All we know that is this life is temporary. Whether we like it or not, this is temporary life, and we are going to leave this life and face our permanent home. That is the life hereafter. And no single act will be allowed to go with unchecked. God will account us. God will ask us to account our deeds, and where we have been wrong, we will face the consequences. So in all summary, we should try and do the best. We should try and do the best, so that we can correct our permanent home, so that we can have an internal peaceful life and a peaceful life, in hereafter. Yeah. So our leaders, they have to know that there is life after this one, and they should try to do well, for the betterment of their subjects. That's my take. Thank you so much. Happy nice day.
You too, Madam Shatima. Thank you so much for calling on the program as always. If not the first caller on every segment, always a regular caller on this segment. And it's simply just reiterating, yes, they've been doing well. So far, the best they can do is provide commentaries, to provide some sort of spiritual guide or moral analysis on what needs to be done to address the gaps in society along several other issues, structural issues, poverty, healthcare, insecurity, unemployment, jobs, and everything else. But is that enough? Because sometimes we see politicians try to leverage their relationship with some of these key religious figures, right, who have the ability to call on to their congregation and say, listen, I believe in person A or B in terms of getting the job done. And we've seen politicians take their campaign messages to churches, to mosques, right, so that they can sell that idea to the congregation. So isn't that a leverage enough for some of these religious figures to now say, listen, whatever it is that you're trying to do is not working for our congregation. It's simply just not working. And I dare say Muslims, Christians, non-practicing citizens of this country are all in the same boat when we talk about a couple of things, whether it's insecurity, whether it's the state of the economy, whether it's healthcare services, whether it's education. There are a variety of issues where, listen, Nigerians are simply not just at the receiving end of something great. So we're asking, is the role of religious leaders good enough so far to say that they are giving their best? Let's have a conversation on this one. Do we have another caller?
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
I'm Suleiman here from Abuja.
Suleiman, yeah, good morning. Please go ahead.
Welcome. Accountability in governance. Are religious leaders playing their role? I think our religious leaders are not really playing their role the way they are supposed to play their role. Seriously speaking, I listened to the last speaker. He said that the religious leaders are telling our leaders what they are supposed to tell them. But I think they are not really telling them what they need to know, because the leaders, they know what they want to do. They tell our religious leaders so that our religious leaders should support them in whatever they want to do. And that is what is happening in our community. Our religious leaders today are not really telling our leaders to their ear what they need to know, because the leaders are settling them. We can see examples of that all over the country. Our leaders are so quiet. They are not saying anything. Why? Because the government have settled them to keep quiet or not to say anything against them. And that is what is happening.
You think that's why do you say that, Suleiman? Why do you say that? Why do you think they've been paid off?
If our leaders will criticize what is happening and tell our leaders the truth, they are going to wake up. But the reverse is the case. They are not doing that. Why? Because the leaders don't want them to say that. If they say it, it should be a challenge to them. So they settle them instead of allowing them to say the truth. They give you something and they will come out and keep quiet. Nothing will be done. And that is why every day we keep on having issues and issues and issues and issues and issues, every day increasing, because our religious leaders have kept quiet. If our religious leaders wake up to talk, to say whatever they are seeing in the government, in the society, I'm telling you, the society will be a better place to be. But that is not done because of what our politicians, our leaders are doing. So we need to look at that. Our religious leaders need to go back. If they are giving you something, don't take it. Tell them the truth. And even though you are going to take it, that should not stop you from telling them the truth. Whatever will happen should happen. Collect whatever they are giving you, but tell them the truth. That is where we are failing. We collect from them and we will not say anything. But when you collect from them, still tell them that what you are doing is wrong. But the fact that you are giving me something doesn't mean that I will not tell you the truth. Always tell them the truth. You still religious leaders gather themselves, they go to social positions, go to villa, go everywhere. They are running everywhere. And once they go there, they give them something. And the truth will not be truth. And these are issues that put us in the situation we are today. But if our religious leaders, we are hoping and praying that they should wake up. If they wake up, I'm telling you, this country is a better place to be. By the time you tell them, this is what we want you people to do, and they refuse to do it, they tell the community, this our leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do. The community will come out and say, okay, our religious leaders have told us that you people are not doing what you are supposed to do. For that, we are not with you. We are not supporting you. The place will be a better place. There will be a change. So that is what I think we should emphasize on. Our religious leaders should please come out and be saying it the way it is. Inshallah, we hope that this will be better.
Yeah, indeed. And amen to that. Thank you so much, Suleiman, for calling. I appreciate you for your thoughts there, Suleiman, saying that, listen, there's room for improvement. Whatever it is that they've been doing so far is still not enough to really speak to the real issues that affects Nigerians on a daily basis. And he feels like this relationship has compromised to some extent, I think is what he's saying, the integrity or the ability at least of the religious figures to speak truth to power, right? Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Who is on the line?
My name is Mohammed from Abuja.
Mohammed from Abuja. Good morning, Mohammed. Please go ahead.
Oh, good morning, sir. Based on the topic of your program. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mohammed. Go ahead.
Let's be sincere with ourselves, my brother. Nigeria is the country where we have the highest numbers of mosques, even more than Saudi Arabia. The same thing goes to the other religion, churches. Our religious leaders are not doing nothing. Astagfirullah, I'm not condemning. I get it, but let's face reality. They are doing nothing. Nigeria, this is the country whereby a criminal that be sentenced to the prison outside Nigeria will be welcomed by our religious leader. This is a country that a criminal that is answering a case will be given a title in an Islamic way. What are they doing? That means that they don't have the criminals. To be sincere, let's face reality. But Allah knows better. But I know one thing, that if they really try to do or put their things in the right place, Nigeria will be better. Before, all these politicians, they fear their father, they fear the pastors. But now they don't have that fear. That fear is no more there. So that's why they are not bold enough to talk to them, because they are even the one appointing them. Because they will go and meet them, pray for me, Baba, pray for me, Alaba, pray for me this, if you do this, if anything happens. And besides, whatever happens to any human being has been ordained by God, not even keep their prayer. So they now now be collecting the returns. If they put everything in order, even concerning title, you as a person now, I don't know the leader you belong to. Are they able to give you any title? Because they know you are not worthy, you are not a billionaire. And they don't even care how those people that are giving title got their money, whether it's in the kingdom or not. The same thing in the churches. They got airports. That's my own advice.
Yeah, amen to that, Mohammed. I appreciate you for calling in. And I can understand where Mohammed's frustration is coming from. He did talk about, the cozying up to each other, and how that in itself, leaves a bad taste in the mouth of many Nigerians who are saying, if you're this close to these politicians, how come you're not, standing up to them and saying, listen, things are really, really bad, right? And also there is this regionalization of commentaries where, say for instance, if a leader comes from one part of the country, you get a sense that people from that part of the country feel a sense of responsibility to not be critical of the leadership of that person. I'm not saying that everybody in that region is supportive of that administration, but of course sometimes you get the sense that the criticism is not necessarily constructive, and it's not necessarily hitting the nail on the head. And that's why many Nigerians are feeling like, listen, why aren't you saying anything? If at all you're saying something, why isn't it working? And he also did talk about the integrity of religious leaders decades ago, and how that is being eroded right now, where the political figure is becoming the authority now in society in all ramifications. And that, I think, is a phenomenon or a trend that at least we need to reverse. Feel free to be a part of the conversation. You can call in. The numbers are showing on your TV screen. You can also send us a text message if that's how you choose to communicate to us this morning. Articulate your thoughts via SMS or through WhatsApp. Let's speak to our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, sir.
Well, who is on the line and where are you calling from?
My name is Muhammad from Zaria.
Muhammad, how is Zaria this morning?
Alhamdulillah.
Good to hear that. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I've seen your topic, and then I heard so many people say a lot about it. But I think we have to see, in Nigeria, we are all biased all the time. My reason is that these religious leaders, if they can take me or you and keep with them as their secretary, you will be surprised the phone calls alone they receive every day. They are just like judges. But what happens is that accountability, a religious leader cannot impose accountability on a politician, because the thing is divided. I'll give you an example. When they are calling for anything national, you cannot see religious leaders there, or religious leaders there. Only the politician can do everything. You cannot see religious leaders. If you see them in a different mission. They will only, when things are going bad in the country, they will call them to come and pray, to come and do whatever they can do. And maximum the religious leaders can do, either they call their followers either from mosques or church and tell them what to do. But for Nigerians, it looks like for Nigeria, it's like you can draw a horse to the river. You cannot force it to drink. It will drink only when it wants to drink. The religious leaders cannot force the politician to do something. They can only tell them this is what God says. It depends on which religion you are following. The religious leaders are trying. Whenever things want to go wrong, seriously, the politicians, they themselves, they are the one calling for the religious leaders, only when things is going bad. So let's be fair to the religious leaders, either Christianity or Islam. Really, to me, they are playing a very great role. Right. See another typical example, when there was a coup in Niger, when they were evicted from ECOWAS, there was serious tension. The religious leaders from Nigeria team up and go there. How many times? After that, the thing came down. So please, even in the country, even in this country, when things is about to go bad in a society or whatever, it is then that the politician will think of the religious leaders. Why is only them? Why enacting something for the country, for the whole country? Why can't we bring these religious leaders inside? Let's bring them. And definitely they will tell you. They can only tell you. They cannot force you to follow it. Because the politician, they know. For example, now if they are swearing in anybody, maybe he win election or he is elected or whatever, a Muslim will carry Holy Quran and hold in his hand. Because he believes in that. A Christian carry Bible. He believes in that. Most of them, an average of the politicians, they know these things either in the Quran or the Bible. But to follow is where the problem is. And that is maximum religious leaders can do to me. Religious leaders of Nigeria, they are trying hard. Trying very, very hard, to be honest. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. I appreciate you for the perspective, for calling in on the program. Of course, I understand where Mohammed is coming from, but also he has, made the point to say that they're not necessarily at the center of the scheme of things when it comes to governance, which is a fact. But he also says they're quite instrumental in addressing challenges when they arise, right? They are always called in to fix social problems and things like that. So that means that they do have some sort of political power. They have a currency that they can spend in terms of addressing some of the gaps we're seeing. But I do take your point. Thank you so much for calling. Let's speak to the next caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello,
welcome to the program.
I'm calling from Jos.
Come again.
Hello, my name is Samson. I'm calling from Jos.
Samson, how is Jos this morning?
Jos is fine, thank you.
Good to hear that, Samson. Please go ahead.
Yes, accountability. This is a very important subject because we are living in a very big country with different kind of religion, and for the fact that we have leaders, definitely they have to be accountable. So, but the problem we are having is that most times it's just like what my people used to say, a snake that has swallowed an egg cannot be able to bite. So that is exactly what is happening. When it comes to election, that is when you see how the politicians are in need of the religious leaders, because they know that these people are very influential, and therefore they go after them night and day to keep them in picture so that they can be able to, get followers and voters for them. But when that is happening, also, of course, there's an exchange of money and everything. So, and when the election ends, of course, they are being paid off. I'm not saying that everyone is doing it, but most of them are doing it. And therefore, it becomes so difficult for them to be able to, come back and say, this is what you are supposed to do. Because in the first place, the religious leaders too are not doing what they are supposed to do by collecting things from them. I mean, this is it. So if, like in Hausa, it says that idan da dawa yana wari, idan bera yana sata da dawa ma yana wari. You understand? So this is exactly what is happening. So, but I wish it's not too late for us to do what is right. We need to also understand that accountability is very important, and even God Himself wants us to be accountable, even in our homes, in the society, in wherever we find ourselves. So we have to also understand that these things our children are watching. If you are a father, you have to be accountable not for anyone else but for your own children. And also for you to be a religious leader, you must also understand that there are people who are watching you. I mean, who have confidence in you. So we need to be serious in what we are doing, not only because we want to be recognized by other people, but also we have to understand that this is very important. This is humanity. This is life. This is trust that has been given to you. So I will speak to our religious leaders, regardless of which religion. There are people who are watching you today. If you come online, sometimes I feel scared to even comment on people's on many videos that are going on. You see religious leaders ranting and abusing, and in fact creating chaos instead of standing for the truth, for peace and accountability, like we are discussing today. So I personally I feel so sad when I see religious leaders being used instead of them to be the one to put things in order. I mean, we have a lot to do, and if we don't do it quickly, it's going to destroy us.
Yeah, Samson, I quite agree with you on that point. And thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. Do have a lovely day ahead. Thank you so much, Samson from Just There, giving his thoughts. And yes, you understand that, with so much power, so much influence that the religious leaders have, comes with a lot of responsibility. And one of those responsibilities is to have the ability to speak truth to power. And we're not saying that every one of them is not speaking truth to power, but you fear that as a collective, if they are adding that extra level of pressure, it will definitely do the needful. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. Who is on the line?
I'm Amina from Kaduna.
I wanted to say Amina from Kaduna, but I had to wait just to be sure. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you have a very nice topic for the day, as usual. The truth is that as human beings, like all other speakers have said, accountability is very important in our lives. Whatever you do, you should be accountable. But the truth about our religious leaders in Nigeria presently is that they are not accountable. We should not hide from the truth. Like one of the speakers said, we cannot condemn all. There are some that are doing their best. But the truth is that religion has been politicized, that the religious leaders have less to offer. They've sold their power to the politicians. They are majority of them are bootlickers. And this is what the politicians want. And that is the reason why it's only when they are needed, they are called upon. And because of that, when they go and they are given what they are supposed to be given, when the truth surfaces, they find it difficult to talk out, because you've been paid. You've been paid to keep your mouth shut. Our religious leaders, I'm sorry to say, I think they've contributed to the mess in the country. Look at the Muslim ticket. It's a very good example. Look at what happened within that period. Some are for the government, some are for the masses. Those for the government are the ones that are getting from the government. Those for the masses, telling the masses, this is what you are supposed to do, and this is the right thing for you to do, is because it's either they don't have the opportunity to get from the government, they think the only way they can destroy the government is to come back to their people and tell them, don't do it this way, this is the way you do it. These people, during the election, you see that every minute they are there they are holding meeting with the politicians. What are they telling them? Our religious leaders should have the fear of God. They should have the sympathy of the masses. Come out and tell the government the plain truth. They should be able. In fact, religious leaders should be. They should come out in such a way that when they speak, they should be able to shake the government. But unfortunately, it's not like that, because, like one of the speakers from Jos said, when you are bought, when you've been given what to eat, you have to seal your mouth. Except, and if the moment you talk, you will face the consequences. If you look at, I always give an example of Kaduna State. During the El-Rufai, good or bad, the truth is that nobody is perfect. El-Rufai wasn't a perfect leader. But if you look at the religious leader condemning El-Rufai, it's because El-Rufai blocked all their means of getting from the government. During the Ramadan, you see when the masses are hungry, you see them line up with grains, going to the religious leader, sharing for them while their followers are dying. During the festivity, you see rams and everything going to the religious leader. But when El-Rufai came, he blocked that. So you see that most of these religious leaders were condemning El-Rufai then because they were not getting all these things. Yeah. The government used their power to trample on the religious leader. Before you know, they will load millions of religious leaders to pilgrimage with the government from the government post. Then how do you expect these people to talk? These people, most of them are so hungry that the moment they get the little they get, it make them go blind. They are being blindfolded because of the little they get, and they come back to the masses to tell them a different thing, then go to the government to tell the government a different thing. Our religious leaders are not doing what they are supposed to do. I'm not saying all. There are some that are still there doing their best. But majority of the religious leaders in Nigeria are not doing the best they are doing. They are bootlickers. We have to face the truth. And that is the reason why we find ourselves here. If they have to be accountable, then they should be straightforward. They should be able to call a spade at every given time, no matter whose God is hot. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. As always, straight and sharp with the analysis. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. And of course, I bet you that a lot of Nigerians feel the same level of frustration, that because of political patronage, even some of the respect or the integrity of some of our clerics have been eroded to a certain extent. Because, look, when it comes to speaking out for the people, we've left that role to the civil society and sometimes the NLC to do the speaking. But, of course, we talk about influence. While civil society plays a significant role in addressing societal issues or gaps within the governance structure or helps speak truth to power, you realize that none of them have the influence of religious leaders, because religious leaders can pick up the phone and speak to the president or speak to the governor or speak to the minister or speak to the senators and say, listen, we believe that this is what our people are asking you to do. If only you can address it using such and such. And it's safe to say that even if they're doing it, it's still not good enough for the most part, because we still are dealing with a lot in the polity. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Abdullahi. Shetima Kujima from Maiduguri back again.
Back for a second take. Go ahead, Shetima.
Thank you. I really appreciate my sister Amina for saying the facts, but I was very, very happy. All her saying was she's saying some. That means there is some percentage who are good. I really appreciate for that. And you see, Abdullahi, in the religion leaders, we have some, as Amina was saying. I know clearly here in Maiduguri there is some religious leaders, even if you give them billion from government, they will not collect it. They will not collect it because they know from where he's come from. And they have stand far away from benefiting anything from government, because they know what they're after is to do justice for the masses. And they are always preaching on the welfare of Nigeria at all, on the peace of Nigeria. Some religious leaders, they committed themselves, they witnessed a sleepless night praying for the country to be well and things to be good. So we really appreciate them. But there is some, as Amina was saying, there is some who are parading themselves as a religious leaders, but in reality, they are not religious leaders. They put on that big gown to parade themselves as a religious leaders for the benefit of the account of the Christians. Majority of them, they are just like that. But I know, as I say when I call first, religious leaders, they read the divine law, they know everything. They will not engage themselves where they will be suffer in the permanent form. This is a temporary world, as I say it. They are compassion. They know everything. But some of them who are doing these minutes, they are not religious leaders, honestly speaking. Right. They try to have relevancy or consideration in the part of the government for the benefit of the government treasury. You know, we have to distinguish from good religious leaders and the bad one.
Yeah.
So we should try as much as we can to have a good prayers for them, for the betterment of our country.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and may God bless Trust TV.
Thank you so much, Shatima. I appreciate you always, especially when you call twice during the session. Shatima, they're calling back to reiterate a particular point, and I think it stands true, right? There is no area or walk of life that you go to where everybody is perfect, and I do understand that. I do take that. There are some good politicians too, as strange as that sounds. Hello, good morning. There are some good politicians too. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
Hello. Yes.
Please just turn down the volume of your TV set and let's have a direct conversation through the phone. All right. I think we've lost the connection there. I'm not sure how much time we have left. Do we have time to take a look at some of the messages on WhatsApp, if we do have any? As you can imagine, Nigerians are quite very fond of their religious leaders, right? Whether in Christianity or in Islam. Yeah, not many people, come not for my anointed is usually the feeling you get, or touch not my anointed is the feeling you get when you talk about religious leaders, right? And there have been so many scandals that many Nigerians say, listen, we cannot attack members of the clergy because they still remain the consciousness of our society, spiritually speaking. And Nigeria likes to pride itself, or Nigerians like to pride themselves as
my name is Muhammad.
Very religious country. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Who is on the line and where are you calling from?
My name is Muhammad Kudu. I'm calling from Jigawa State.
Muhammad Kudu.
Yeah.
From Jigawa. Okay. I know it's not the Muhammad Kudu, but Muhammad Kudu, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Please go ahead.
It's always a pleasure. I have heard all the other contributors what they've been saying.
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Truly, I say truly, our religious leaders are not bad enough to that extent. There are many of them that are very good, and they've been contributing seriously to the development of the country. But honestly speaking, to certain lengths, some of our religious leaders have compromised. And you can see those that have compromised are the ones that are bad eggs amongst them. But honestly speaking, just like Amina have said and other contributors have rightly said, our religious leaders are trying their best. But these politicians have succeeded in just like they've done in other institutions. They've tried to rubbish even the religious leaders. And this is the gospel truth. But our religious leaders are trying their best. But most often, Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mohammed. Please go ahead.
I said most often during political rallies, these are some of the period that these politicians used to succeed. They used to succeed and then get into this religious leader, give them monies, and then from that time, most of the religious leaders compromise. And this is not good for the country. And like they have said, there's accountability. God is going to hold us accountable. All of us, we are going to accountable to our deeds. So I pray and hope that this, your television, God is going to pay you abundantly because you are doing the best. All this sensitization, I believe and pray that they are also hearing so that they are going to change and change for better. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mohammed Kudu. I appreciate you for joining this conversation and thank you for that prayer of yours. We do really appreciate it. Yeah. And listen, why conversations like this continue to remain important is because you get the sense that we all have to be intentional about fixing Nigeria from all walks of life: journalists, police officers, businessmen, artisans, entrepreneurs, students, right, teachers. Everybody has a role to play in fixing this great nation, or at least fixing the trajectory of this great nation that has a lot of potential, that has a lot of promise, right? And that is why we are identifying this set of people who are quite influential in our society today and spotlighting their role in helping fix the country. Not to say that they are solely responsible for fixing Nigeria, by the way, but also saying the fact that they have a role to play, and that is why we're having this conversation. Is that role being played enough significantly to make a difference? Because accountability seems to be lacking. Successive administrations have fallen short of becoming accountable to the people. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Who is on the line?
My name is Jamilu Abdullahi.
Jamilu, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Benue State, Makurdi.
How is Makurdi this morning, Jamilu?
I want to contribute to this accountability in governance.
Go ahead, go ahead.
About these our religious leaders.
Go ahead, please.
The major problem we are having today in this country, our religious leaders push themselves for money. Because me, I have conversation with some of the religious leaders before previous election. They told me that they know competent leader, but the competent leader don't have money. Kuma, you can't do election without money. Why based on that? Religious leaders are the ones to tell us to vote competent people with or without money. But now, they are telling us, let us follow money, not conscience any longer. It is very bad. I can recall a book I read, Malan Aminu Kanu. He said, anytime our politicians and our clergies join hands together, the poor masses will suffer. In Hausa proverb, you see, in siyasa suka haɗu da malamai, talaka ya shiga uku so uku. So you see all those problems, and we are seeing it in reality. Because now we are seeing reality. Because the clergy and the politicians have joined hands together. They are in the top. While the poor masses are down there suffering. I'm not saying all the clergy. The clergy, I mean the Muslim and the Christian. I'm not cutting out any one of them. Now there are people are in mess now. You see, people cannot feed 3 square meals today because of the hardship we have in this country. That is all I can contribute.
Thank you so much, Jamilu. I appreciate your take on that one. And for those of you who missed out on the Hausa idiom that Jamilu was using, or at least the reference to the PRP leader, Malam Aminu Kano, was essentially just saying that the day you see politicians and religious leaders mixing and relating in a very mutual way, just know that things are about to fall apart for the larger population, because that's not supposed to happen. But anyway, I mean, that might be quite a critical take, but you can have a mutual relationship and still keep each other honest, because accountability, speaking truth to power, being honest, they are the cornerstones of the two major religions in the world, and these are the two major religions you have in Nigeria today, Islam and Christianity, right? I mean, none of these religions shy away from speaking about being honest, being upright, being trustworthy, having integrity, being moral, right? And all of these things are social values that we uphold, or at least we like to think that we uphold in Nigeria as a society. So what is happening? Because if everybody is ticking all of these boxes, religious leaders are ticking all the boxes, politicians are ticking all the necessary boxes, we wouldn't be where we are today. Yes, we do have to deal with the reality of life, the ebbing and flowing of life, the highs and the lows of life, right? No country is in perpetual, positive growth. We all have to deal with one thing or the other, social vices, and you have bad energy in several sectors of our society. But the point Jamila, I think, was making is that this is not normal. The cozying up to politicians that we see some of our religious leaders do every now and then leaves much to be desired, especially the point about campaigns where religious leaders are tilting towards the monetization of the political process. They're supposed to be above and beyond in terms of the sentimentality that goes into the electoral process, or even the transactional nature of the campaign promise itself, which has put us in the current mess that we are dealing with. It shouldn't be to the highest bidder, at least to religious leaders. They should be above board on this one, right? And we shouldn't be questioning their integrity at this point. And yes, we are contextualizing this conversation to say that it is not all religious leaders who are one and the same, but much needs to be done to change the trajectory of this country, and we need our religious leaders doing the needful to help us turn the tide. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, I think we've lost the connection to that call. Believe some of you are joining the conversation via WhatsApp. We're going to do our best to try and take a look at that. Apparently, apologies in case you are looking forward to that conversation from Jos, where we intended to bring you up to speed with developments from Bokos, the attack that has claimed tens of people. The latest report we're getting is just a little over 40. The NSA was in Jos recently, and he said the numbers have been exaggerated, but peace and security has been restored. All right, let's take a look at some of the messages on WhatsApp regarding the conversation of the day. Good morning. This one says is from Zuobs from Kano. Or is it Zoops from Kano? Something about leaders. I swear to God, I was very surprised much. If you can see in this era where our leaders love money more than the truth, because they enjoy money. Because they enjoy money, right? I think is what you say. They're not allowed to tell the people the truth about everything. All of them and okay, I think it's basically trying to say they've been enticed, and look at how the people are being cheated by the leaders in the country. He wants to also call on okay, he's speaking to the developments in Edo. Yeah, I don't as much as I understand where you're going with this, I think as a society, this us versus them mentality, ZORPS, is not necessarily going to make things better. So it's not a Christian versus Muslims type of situation. I guess he's referencing the recent incident in Edo State, the Urumi incident there. But I wouldn't say that your take on this one is actually is pitch perfect, right? Because on the other side, they can also point to some of the incidents that they would say, oh, what about the Muslims doing this and that? And we don't want to have that conversation. We have to be honest with ourselves to say a crime is a crime, regardless of who commits it, right? If a Muslim commits a crime, doesn't make it a Muslim crime. If a Christian commits a crime, it doesn't make it a Christian crime, right? A crime is a crime. Our politicians only go to religious leaders only when they need them for their selfish interest. After using them, they abandon them in most cases. Even when advised by the religious leaders, they ignore them. Yeah, and I think you're making a good point there, and thank you for saying that. Yes, sometimes behind the scenes we don't know how tough things are for the religious leaders who are trying to get their message across. Sometimes politicians have all the necessary advice that they need, politicians in power especially, but they just choose to ignore them, and that is why it's important to have this conversation. Nandi Bete from Ogoja in Cross River State says, yes, there are few religious leaders who speak truth to government concerning accountability. There was an instance where a Catholic bishop reportedly rejected a personal offer of money in public from a state governor, advising him rather to use the money and pay workers' salaries, which at the time were in arrears. However, there are many who use their exalted spiritual positions to, quote, worship politicians who fund their churches. Hence, they are compromised and find it difficult calling for accountability from these benefactors of theirs. Yes, Nandi, I wish I can like that message multiple times, and you can say that across other religions also. It's not exclusive to Christianity. And yeah, we have occasionally these rare moments where, and it shouldn't be rare because our religious leaders, members of the clergy, have been doing this for years. We're just witnessing a shift in the tide where they speak less often, and when they speak, you get the sense that they are trying to be too diplomatic in calling a spade a spade. Yes, diplomacy works for the most part, but if you take the pulse of the country, you see how angry and frustrated the people are. You want to channel your message in such a way that it reflects the reality on the ground. And yes, it shouldn't be a thing where we find one single instance in a very long time to say that, you know, a Catholic bishop, for instance, publicly rejects offer of money to say, listen, Mr. Governor, keep your money, just go and do the needful, because that is what you're elected to do. That is indeed something that we should celebrate and reference at all time. Abdul Baki from FCT says, obviously, we shall account for our work on earth. My pain is how we revere these religious leaders. Left to me, I don't see any person who should be fronting as an assistant to Jesus or Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on earth. I don't think they're assistant. Let's not demean our religious leaders. They might have their faults, but obviously they're doing the Lord's work. They're doing God's work here on earth, and even though they have their human flaws, we shouldn't deride them in such manner. No need to score them on earth. We shall see who is really religious and care about observing the teaching of God on the day where there will be no incentive at all. Abdul, calm down a little bit, okay? I guess you're frustrated just like many of our contributors, but we can always find a middle ground, right? Yes, some of them have quite the questionable antecedents, and yeah, that's why it's important to have these conversations. But of course, thank you so much for joining the conversation. That is all the time we have for Daybreak Interactive.